Welcome to this week's Dose of Emuna for Shabbat Kodesh. Today we're going to discuss the idea of self-evaluation. Before Shabbat Kodesh actually enters into the realm of this world, what we're supposed to be doing is preparing ourselves. And one of the ways that we prepare ourselves, aside from the physical preparations, is we're supposed to be doing what we call a spiritual self-accounting. Basically, this self-inventory is so that we could appear to be in a more luminous light when the Shabbat Queen enters into our presence. So we want to sort of restore our spiritual aura. And one of the ways that we do that is if we do an internal cleansing within ourselves. And the Shulchan Aruch actually brings down that Erev Shabbat really encases within it all the days of that particular week. Just like Rosh Chodesh does all the days of that month, so too on Erev Shabbat, if we do a cheshbon hanefesh, a self-evaluation of where we're holding spiritually, we're really rectifying the entire week. So our essence during the work week is really like worlds apart from who we are essentially on Shabbat. It's not that we're just merely on an elevated state on Shabbat. We're an entirely new formation of who we really are. We get to meet a whole different level and experience a whole new aspect of who we are if we're really in that Shabbat experience. During the 6 weeks, we relate to Hashem like a child almost to their father. But on Shabbat, we ascend to such a level where we essentially become, quote unquote, his soul companion. We rise up to a completely elevated creation at that point. So to the degree that we're going to prepare ourselves to tightly want to attach ourselves to the Shabbat Queen, that's how much we're injected with the closeness to Hashem. So our task is really to safeguard ourselves from all of the possible barriers that can, God forbid, block us from or interfere from our union, our spiritual union with Hashem. And those barriers could be things like negative thinking, worries, all kinds of idle chatter, different actions that, of course, are prohibited by the Torah. But we should try to safeguard ourselves to the largest extent possible from all these barriers so that we can have this real bond, this bonding experience. So we learn this particularly from the pasuk, V'shamhu b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat. B'nei Yisrael shall observe et the Shabbat. So what's our calling? Our calling is exactly that. It's to really, like with a precious hold and embrace, we should hold on to the Shabbat spirit by recognizing and embracing the importance of honoring the Shabbat Queen, honoring the Shekhinah, the divine presence. So essentially when we say that a person is mechalel Shabbat, desecrate Shabbat, God forbid, the word mechalel is derived from that root word halal, hollow. In other words, it's robbed of its juice, of its meat, of its essence, of its soul. The holiness of Shabbat itself essentially is really all about embracing the essence, safeguarding the presence, and recognizing how much we yearn for it. Because if we don't hold on to it, if we don't embrace the essence of the spirit of Shabbat, it might leave us. And unfortunately, what's going to remain in its place is this halal. It's this hollowness, this emptiness is going to remain in its place. And the only thing that could fill that place is the essence of Shabbat on that day. So let's remember that when we open up ourselves by releasing the negativity, the barriers, the disturbances that we have inside of us that stops us from spiritually uniting with Hashem, we're opening ourselves up, allowing a space to open up for the spirit of Shabbat to come in. But if we don't hold on to that spirit when it comes in, it sort of runs away from us. And when it leaves us, God forbid, we're left again with that hollowness. So Be'ezrat Hashem, as we do the Cheshbon Nefesh, as we do a little bit of self-evaluation before we enter into Shabbat, then Be'ezrat Hashem, let's have in mind that we want to fill it up with the essence of the Shabbat spiritual union of the Shabbat Queen. And we want to hold on to her. We want to embrace her and honor her presence. And Be'ezrat Hashem, it'll be a very different, moving, uplifting Shabbat experience for all of us.